Alright everyone, so this would be your TSI pre-assessment test review, so I'm going to call it the TSI test review. Alright, it's 40 questions, it's going to take a while, so let's get going on this. Number 1, Kimberly and Laisha. Kimberly has $6 more than 4 times Laisha. So Kimberly has 6 more dollars than, more means plus, than 4 times Laisha. I'm going to call Laisha the X. If Laisha has X dollars, so the other girl has X dollars. How much do they have together? Together means we're going to add them. Plus, add. So we're going to add this. 6 plus 4x plus 1x. Because there's a 1 here. Well, 4x plus 1x gives us 5x. And then plus 6. And there's 8. Number 2. Given the vertex form of the graph, y equals x minus h squared plus k, what is the value of h? H is right here. Of course, if you don't know what this formula means, then it's pointless to you. This is the vertex. Hello. That point right here. In this case, look at this graph is going by halves. Be careful with that. You never know what the scale factor is on a graph. So negative 2 up 1. Negative 2 comma 1. That is the vertex of this quadratic, of this parabola. And I want to know what is the value of h. Well, the vertex is usually h comma k. H is here and k is over there. Well, in our particular question, they want to know what h is. H is the first number. Our first number is negative 2. Alright, so number 3. One number is 5 more than 3 times another number. The large number is twice the small number. What is the small number? What in the world are they talking about? First, I want to go with this one. The large number is twice the smaller number. So the large number, I'm going to call it L for large, S for small, means equals twice the smaller number. Twice means 2 times. So then 2 times my smaller number, which is S. The large number is 2 times my smaller number. Now the other one gets a little bit more tricky. It says one number. Which one? The small one or the large one? It doesn't say. Okay. Means equals 5 more than 3 times another number. Well, first, I'm going to write down here equals, because that's what means. 5, that means 5. More than means plus. 3 times the other number. If I knew the other number, I would put here the letter. So when you think about it, like, pretty much you gotta use your common sense, alright? Does it make sense if I put the small number is 5 plus 3 times the larger number? Would the small number be 3 times the larger plus 5? No. That doesn't make sense. How is your small number 3 times the biggest number? No, that doesn't make sense. But our large number can be 5 plus 3 times our small number. That's why it's the larger number. That makes sense. Alright. Now it says, what is the smaller number? Now we need to solve for S. We're going to do substitution in these two questions. It says L equals 2S. In other words, I'm going to put L equals L. Alright? This L is 2S. So for this L, I'm going to put 2S. Equals L, here's L, equals 5 plus 3S. 5 plus 3S. And now I can solve for S using Algebra 1. Letters go with letters, numbers go with numbers. There's a 2S right here. It makes no sense to move the 2S over here. It doesn't make sense because there's already a 5 here. This 5 is a number. Leave it alone. So, move this 3s to the left. How do you move a positive 3s? By subtracting 3s. Now we have numbers. Here's numbers with numbers and letters with letters. So 2s minus 3s gives us negative 1s equal to 5. I don't want negative 1 here. So I'm going to divide by negative 1. And this will give me s is equal to 5 divided by negative 1 is a negative 5. My small number is negative 5. So in this question, the answer would be B. Number 4. What are the zeros? Zero of the equation x squared equals 144. X squared equals 144. The zeros. This is a good word here. Zeros. Another word for zero is solution or root. Alright? So, in other words, solve this question. What is x equal to? Well, how do you get rid of the little 2? The squared, this exponent. How do you get rid of the 2? You take the square root. If you take the square root to the left, you have to do it to the right. The square root will cancel this 2, and then this goes away. So you're left with x. Now the square root of 144 is 12 and negative 12. Don't forget the other one. 12 and negative 12. See, you think it might be 12 and you get the answer wrong with letter D. Number 5. In the xy plane, what is the y-intercept of the equation 3y minus 21x minus 12 equals 0? Y-intercept. The y-intercept means x equals 0. And if you get the x-intercept, then that means that y equals 0. But in our question, it wants to know what is the y-intercept. That means x is 0. That means right here, hello, you put a 0 in for this number, or for that letter, sorry. Put a 0 there. 3y minus 21 times 0 minus 12 equals 0. Well, 21 times 0 is 0, so I don't need to write it anymore. It goes away. It's 3y minus 12 equals 0. And then we solve. We don't want numbers and letters together. We want numbers with numbers, letters with letters. Look, here's a 0. 0 is a number. This is a 12. That's a number. So move the 12 over here with the 0. How do you move a negative 12? You add 12. Add 12. 3y is equal to 0 plus 12 is 12. Divide by 3. And 12 divided by 3 is 4. Number 6. Which equation represents the given graph? Well, this is just Algebra 1 review here, because you should know all the properties of a graph, especially y equals mx plus b. Because right away we're going to use this letter, which is the y-intercept, to eliminate some answers. The y-intercept is where your line crosses the y-axis. This axis. Right? This blue matches this blue. Right? This line, the red line, touches the y at right here. What number is this? 0. So you should have a plus 0, plus 0. Not a plus 1, and not a plus 5. Their answer is one of these. Now that falls into the M. M is slope. That is rise over run. So I'm going to look right here. And I'm going to figure out. This says 3 and 5. Do I go up 3 over 5? Or do I go up 5 over 3? I don't know. Let's try letter B. Up 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, my point is not here. Let's make sure it's up 5 over 3. Up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1, 2, 3. Yes, there's a dot right there. The answer is D. Number 7. If g of x is equal to negative 2x over x minus 3, which of the following is true? Alright. This is just going to be substitution. You're going to use your answer choices to plug them in here and see what is true. Charge you right now. Calm down. It's not C and D. Those just look dumb. They're just wrong. It's either A or B. So I'm going to do A right here, and I'm going to do B over here. That way you can see one wrong answer and one right answer. Letter A. Letter A says g of 0 equals negative 3. Well, this means, see how there's an x right here? This is x. This is y. The 1 here is x. The 1 here is y. So A says that if you plug in x, 0, you are going to get the answer to be negative 3. Okay, let's check it out. It says negative 2x over x minus 3. So for all the x's, you're going to plug in 0. Put a 0 right there, and put a 0 right there. Negative 2 times 0 over 0 minus 3. If we get negative 3 as the answer, then A is the answer. Negative 2 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 3 is negative 3. 0 divided by negative 3. Does that give you negative 3? No. It gives you 0. Wrong. Now let me show you why B is correct. X will be 1, and after you work it all out, you're going to get 1 as the answer. Negative 2x over x minus 3. So here's my x. Here's my other x. So negative 2 times 1 divided by 1 minus 3. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. A negative 2 divided by a negative 2 gives us positive 1, which is what we're looking for. That's why B is the answer. Alright, number 8. If 3x plus 10 equals 10 plus 2x, what is the value of x? This is just a straight up algebra 1, can you solve for x question? Without a calculator, of course. Alright. 3x plus 10 is equal to 10 plus 2x. Numbers have to go with numbers, letters have to go with letters. Alright? It doesn't matter which side you want to put things on. It's up to you. I'm going to put the x's on the left. I'm going to put the numbers on the right. Alright? That's what I'm going to do. X is on the left, numbers on the right. In other words, I don't want this 2x over here. How do I move a positive 2x? Well, I subtract 2x. You should not put it with the 10, because I want numbers with numbers, letters with letters. Those letters go away. 3x minus 2x is x, or 1x if you want, plus 10 is equal to 10. I want numbers with numbers, letters with letters. I have a 10 over here, I have a 10 here. Put them together. How do you move a positive 10? You subtract 10. X is equal to 10 minus 10 is 0. X is 0. I guess I'll just explain. That's why there was a pause there. I was thinking about whether to explain something to you. Now, if you cannot figure out the answer, then plug them in. Don't be lazy and get the answer wrong because you don't know how to do it. You have multiple choice. If you plug in 0 right here, put a 0 there. Put a 0 there. You'll get two numbers that are equal. And that's why that is the answer. Substitute, people. Substitute. Number 9. Now, in this question, if you get one, promise you're going to get a calculator. The circle graph shows Jackie's monthly budget for rent, food, clothing, savings, and other items. Jackie's monthly budget is $2,000. There it is. What is the sum of the budget between savings and clothing? Sum. Sum means to add something. You're going to add what? Savings plus clothing. Savings, right here, and clothing. Savings is 15%. I'm going to add the clothing, which is 12. 0.5%. I'm going to add them together. 15 plus 12.5 gives us 27.5%. Now, whenever you see percent, divide by 100, bring it back to a decimal, because percent is just another way to write down decimals, right? So, 27.5% divided by 100. Put in your fancy calculator, or just know how to move two decimals to the left, whatever. And you're going to get 0.275. Okay? Now 0.275 is how much it wants you to figure out of the total 2,000. 2,000 and 0.275. You multiply them. 2,000 times 0.275. You're figuring out 27.5% of 2,000 because that's how much her budget is. So multiply this 2,000 times 0.275 and you're going to get $550. Let it be. 10. What is the equation of f of x? Now, if you're in Algebra 2 or Pre-Cal, you can figure this out just by knowing the properties of these rationals. But since we're not in that, we're going to do it by hand. What do you mean by hand? Well, I'm going to cheat. This point right here. That point is 4, 0, x, y. I'm going to plug them in because I know that f of x, all of this f of x junk is just a fancy word for y, right? You plug them into all of them until you get the right answer. To make this video not be 7 hours long, I'm going to do again one right one and one wrong one. I do letter A. I do letter B over here. Letter A says y equals 4 plus 2 square root of x. Remember, I put y here instead of f of x. Y. Y is 0. See, right here it says y is 0. 0 equals 4 plus 2 square root of x. X is 4. is 0 equal to 4 plus 2? The square root of 4? What's square root of 4? Oh, it's 2. So that means 2 times 2. Does 0 equal 4 plus 2 times 2? 2 times 2 is 4. Does 0 equal 8? No. A is wrong. Now you go to B. B says y is equal to 4 minus 2 square root x. Again, same process. The y is right here. Y is 0, is equal to 4 minus 2 square root of x. X is 4. 0 equal to 4 minus 2. The square root of 4 is 2, so 2 times 2. Is 0 equal to 4 minus 4? Yes, 0 is equal to 0. So letter B is the answer. That's how you do these questions. Just use the answer choices and use your basic knowledge of this graph and figure it out. Number 11. If 4x squared plus 4x minus 8 equals 0, what are the values of x? Four x squared plus 4x minus 8 equal to 0. What are the values of x? Well, this is factoring. And I'm going to look to see this is 4, this is 4, and this is 8, the negative 8. Can I factor out a number from each of these? If so, it makes my life so much easier. It just so happens that I can factor out a 4. If you take 4 out of here, 4 divided by 4 still has your 1x squared. There's going to be a 1 as well. And then if you divide this by 4, you're going to get 2. So I need to factor x squared plus x minus 2 equal to 0. There's a 1 right here. That looks weird. So from factoring, this last number is our times, this middle number is our plus. I need two numbers that when you multiply equal a negative 2. I need two numbers, but when you add them equal a positive 1. So two numbers when you multiply give you negative 2. But when you add them, give you 1. Right here. 2 and negative 1. What is 2 times negative 1? Negative 2. What is 2 plus a negative 1? That's 1. So, 2 and negative 1. 12. Which of the following results in no real solution? No real solution. In other words, when you take the square root of a negative. Again, I'm just going to go over one right and one wrong one. A and B again. Here's A. I'm going to do B over here. Letter A. Letter A says negative 4x squared equals 100. Solve for x pretty much. Well, divide by a negative 4, divided by negative 4. X squared is equal to 100 divided by negative 4 is negative 25. Previously we said how to get rid of this little 2? You take the square root. Take the square root. The square root cancels this 2. You have x equals, and whoa. You cannot take the square root of a negative number. X is no real solution. The answer would be A. Letter B, why is it wrong? Negative 4x squared is equal to negative 16. Again, we'll solve here. Divided by negative 4. X squared is equal to negative 16 divided by negative 4 gives us positive 4. How do you get rid of the 2? You take the square root. X equals, can you take the square root of 4? Yeah, it's 2 and negative 2. So these have answers. You wanted no real solution. That's why A is the answer. Number 13. The formula for the volume of a right circular cylinder is V equals pi r squared h if r equals 2x squared and h is 2x squared plus 3. What is the volume in terms of x? Alright. Pi r squared h. For right now I'm going to leave pi out of it. I'm going to leave pi alone. I'm going to do the r squared. R is 2x squared. I'm going to plug that in for here. 2x squared. And then the r has a 2, so I will put another 2 here. And then all that times h. H is 2x squared plus 3. And then pi is over here. But for now, leave pi alone. First, I'm going to fix this. Right? Because it has exponents. There's a 1 here. Right? 2 to the first power. When you have a power to a power, because it's 2 to the first power to the second power. It's squared again. You multiply. So this becomes 2, and this 1 is multiplied to this 2 times 2, and then x, since x has a 2, you're going to multiply this 2 and that 2. Before I move on to the rest, I'm going to fix it. 1 times 2 is, I'll do that over here, I'll do the work over here. 1 times 2 is 2, so it's 2 squared, and then x, 2 times 2 is 4. 2 squared, 2 to the second power is 4. So this yellow box went to this box, went to this, went to this. So again, I'm going to leave pi on the outside. This is really 4x to the 4th multiplied by 2x squared plus 3. Again, I'm going to leave pi alone. I'm going to multiply here. First, I'm going to multiply the numbers. 4 times 2 is 8. X to the 4 times x to the 2. We're multiplying. When you multiply, you don't do 4 times 2. The 4 and the 2 are going to be plus sign. 4 plus 2 is 6. That's the exponent property. So 4 plus 2 is 6. Now we're going to multiply the 4x times 3. 4 times 3 gives us a positive 12. This doesn't have an x, so I'm just going to bring down my x to the 4. And then pi. Don't forget the pi. Bring it down. So then pi goes multiplied in here. And you don't put 8 times 3.14. Leave pi alone. It's 8 pi with x to the 6 plus, multiply this way, 12 bring in the pi symbol, and then x to the fourth. So 8 pi 6 x6 plus 12 pi x4. Answer C. Number 14. Natalie earns $15 for babysitting 2.5 hours. $15 for 2.5 hours. If the amount of money she earns varies directly, when you see varies directly, it means you're going to cross multiply and make some fractions, alright? Varies directly, make some fractions, and cross multiply, and divide. That's why I already made this fraction. For the number of hours she babysits. How much will she earn if she works 9.5 hours? I have money on top. See, money and money. I have hours on the bottom. This is 9.5. So 9.5 hours does not go on top, it goes on the bottom. Because 9.5 is hours. Then you cross multiply, just like you learned in middle school. 15 times 9.5. And then you divide by 2.5 when you're done. 15 times 9.5 is 142.5. Then you divide that by 2.5, as a number left over. Divide by a number in the bottom. 2.5. And that is $57. You're like, well, what? $57 not here. It's because the answer is not there. The answer is $57. You could have also done it $15 over 2.5. It'll give you how much she makes in 1 hour. And then you can multiply that times 9.5. It still gives you 57. So it's up to you. Whatever. 15. What is the area in terms of x? What shape is this? It's a rectangle. How do you find the area of a rectangle? The area of a rectangle is not going to be given to you. You should know the area of a rectangle is length times width. So 4x minus 2 times x minus 1. And now this is simple FOIL method. Again, algebra 1 stuff. You're going to get this number. You're going to multiply it times x. There's a 1 here. 4x times 1x. 4x times 1x. So 4 times 1 gives us 4. X times x gives us x squared. Now you're going to do 4x times a negative 1. 4 times a negative 1 is negative 4. X times nothing is just going to be your x there. You have to bring the x with us. Now you're going to get your negative 2. Multiply that times that number. Negative 2 times 1x will give us a negative 2. And then bring your x with you. And then negative 2 times a negative 1. Negative 2 times a negative 1 gives us a positive 2. Then you combine your like terms, which is negative 4x and a minus 2x. Now bring down the 4x squared. Negative 4x minus 2x is negative 6x, and then plus 2. Answer A. Number 16. If the area of a square is 16 units and one side of the square is 2a units, find the value of a. Well, if this is 2a and this is a square, then all the sides are the same. This is 2a, then this is 2a. I find the area of a square. It's either side squared, but I just like to use length times width again. I don't like doing the s squared and confuse kids. Or s squared. Up to you, whatever. So I have 2a times another 2a. 2 times 2 is 4. A times a is a squared. Right. It says the area is 16 units. Since we're going to multiply these, we put equal to 16, because that's the area. So we solve for a. Divide by 4, divide by 4. A squared is equal to 16 divided by 4 is 4. How do you get rid of this 2? Take the square root. And you get a is equal to the square root of 4, which is 2, and negative 2. But since we're talking about area, we're not really going to use a negative 2 in this case. It's 2. There is no 2 here, the answer's not there. What values of x will make the equation 3x squared plus 2x minus 2 equal to 0? True. This is a big boy question, which we really haven't gone over. And you're going to have to use a quadratic formula, which is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. All of that divided by 2a. And yes, that's my favorite formula, because it's awesome. First, this number here is a, that number is b, and negative 2 is c. So a is 3, b is 2, and c is negative 2. And then just plug the numbers in here, and you're done. Okay, kind of, not really. There's a negative sign here, so put a negative. b is 2, plus or minus the square root, b squared, b is 2, minus 4 times a is 3, times c, and c is negative 2. All that divided by 2 times a is 3. And then we work it out piece by piece. This is still going to be a negative 2. Plus or minus square root. 2 squared is 4. Minus 4 times 3 is 12. I'm going to put a 12 here. And then I still need to multiply that by a negative 2. Now, what's 12 times negative 2? 12 times negative 2 is negative 24. So I'm going to write that down just to save space. So 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times negative 2 is negative 24. Negative, negative. When you have two negatives, it turns into a positive sign. Divide that by 2 times 3, which is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. Now we'll keep on going. Keep the negative 2, the plus minus. 4 plus 24 is 28 over 6. Now, if you get that far, I'd be ecstatic. But since this is the TSI, and this is a college-ready test, we need to fix this. And this is where we're going to have a little more work. The square root of 28. We went over the notes. I told you all. To help reduce this, think of these numbers. 4, 9, 16, 25, and 36. Why? Because this is 2 squared. This is 3 squared. This is 4 squared. This is 5 squared. And this is 6 squared. Alright? Luckily for us, the first number works. 28. 28 does divide by 4, and that gives us 7. So instead of writing the square root of 28, I'm going to write down, instead of 28, I'm going to put down 4 times 7. Then I'm going to separate this and put it in 4 times square root of 7. And you're like, why are you doing all this? It makes no sense to do more work. And I agree. But the TSI is college ready, and college professors and stuff do not want the square root of 28. They want it to be perfect. So we do it. We fix it. We simplify. Right. So 4. I just separated the 4 and the 7. That's all I did. Why? The square root of 4. The square root of 4 is 2. Can you take the square root of 7? Nope. So this is what I want. The square root of 28 is equal to 2 square root of 7. Now you can plug this in for this. So now it's going to be negative 2 plus or minus 2 square root of 7. All of that divided by 6. Not also, we're not done yet, because that's a 2, that's a 2, and that's a 6. They can all be reduced by 2. So divide this by 2, divide this by 2, divide this by 2. If you divide this by 2, 2 divided by 2 gives you negative 1. Keep the plus or minus sign. 2 divided by 2 is 1. We don't have to put that, it's just root of 7. You can put the 1 if you want. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. This is your final answer. Negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 7 over 3. It's a big boy question. I love it. If you can do that question, I'm pretty sure you'll pass the TSI. It's a pretty tough question. And I think if I remember the answer down there, it was B. Number 18. Simplify this, alright? Negative 6x is greater than 24. Divide by negative 6, divide by negative 6. That's going to be just x. But when you divide by a negative number, the sign flips. Alright? That's the only trick here. So instead of pointing to the right, it's going to point to the left. That's it. 24 divided by negative 6 is negative 4. You notice here, they have to make this complicated because I'm trying to get you ready for the college test. It is pointing to the x. This is pointing to the x, but it has to be negative 4. This is pointing to the x. Negative 4, yes. Because these are not the same as this. This is pointing to the 4, this is pointing to the negative 4. So no, the answer would be B. Number 19. How many times does parabola cross the line for the equation y equals 1? First, y equals 1. Y equals 1. Oh, I'm sorry, negative 1. Hello. Y equals negative 1. That line is right here. So how many times does the red touch the green? 1, 2. Answer is 2. As long as you know that y equals a number, those lines go side to side like this, horizontal. X equals a number, those lines go up and down, vertical. Number 20. What values of x make the equation true? X minus 2 squared minus 9 is equal to 0. Remember, if we can try to do this without doing a lot of work, it makes our life easy. Numbers, numbers, letters, letters. 0 is a number. I want to move this 9 over here. So how do you move a negative 9? Plus 9, plus 9. X minus 2 squared is equal to 0 plus 9 is 9. How do we get rid of this 2 again? Oh yeah, take the square root. Take the square root. So the 2 gets taken away, and so does this symbol. All we have left here is x minus 2 is equal to the square root of 9. What's the square root of 9? Well, the square root of 9 is 3 and negative 3. So that means that x minus 2 is equal to 3 and x minus 2 is equal to a negative 3. How do you get rid of a negative 2? Because numbers will go with numbers. Move the number with a number. Plus 2 plus 2. X is equal to 3 plus 2 is 5. Same thing here. Move the numbers with a number. Plus 2 plus 2. And x is equal to negative 3 plus 2 will give us a negative 1. So our answers are 5 and negative 1. And there we go. We reached the halfway point. Not bad. 47 minutes. Let me stop and make a new video for the next 20.